Hello everyone, it's Figure Friday once again, and here we're looking at the Heavy Battle Droid. So this is from the gaming series for the for the Black series here, as my mind is trying to kind of catch up with everything else going on. So as you see, I did buy two of them, and I'm very guilty of saying, look, and I think of it in a role-playing sense, because I get stuff like this. It's cool, it's neat, and it's fun. If I can have two of them, maybe I can have them for role-playing and everything else. If you guys haven't figured out, for all my videos, so much of it does evolve around wanting to use the stuff for role-playing. It's just part of the silliness of who I am. So whether it's collecting or doing the Legos or whatever it is, some of it is just completely for fun, and some of it is very much for trying to say, hey, let's try and do this for a role-playing aspect. So hoping I keep everything in frame here. I get the camera sitting a little lower than I normally do. So we have seen the B1 Battle Droids before. I've had a couple different colorations of them, and I think I have another one coming up in another box somewhere. And we will get to it when we get to it. And I think I just pulled this all apart, and I didn't think I was supposed to. Okay, this goes into here. That's 4. So with this antenna on here, I'm going to go off on a little leap of faith on this. And we have our rifles. This is considered the Heavy Battle Trooper, as it says. So that means that we have heavier cannons, heavier guns, and so on and so forth, compared to more the regular. So let's see if I can't get them to stand up here. Sit, stay, good battle droid, maybe something like that. If you can give me a little Roger, Roger, maybe I can get them to stand. All right. Oh, come on. I'm going to cheat. He's leaning up against the box. All right, so at first we have this. So this should go into his back somewhere, and that's where the antennas are. So we'll look at that here in a minute as I move some of my other stuff out of the way. Like I said, this should be the antennas. So if this has got the antennas, I'm going to say this is more of the Mark 1, or what I would consider the Mark 1. So if you remember from the Phantom Menace, we had what was essentially the Mark 1, where they needed the droid control ship in order to get the droids to do what they were being asked to do. So that's what this is. We'll take a look at that here in a minute. Now, here we have a nice long range hole puncher. And it looks like it's supposed to have a bipod feature, but it doesn't actually come off of there from the looks of it. So we'll just leave it there. But it gives a nice long rifle. So we'll just kind of go from there. Like I said, it looks like it should have a bipod there. It's interesting. They did bring the trigger guard down a little bit more, because they only have the 3 fingers. When we look at him, he's got all of, his wrist should move here, he's got a thumb, and he's just got the 2 fingers there. So it's 3 in all. So you're trying to fit things to work for a droid with only 3 fingers, a thumb and 2 extra fingers. All right, leaning up against the box. So, it is interesting that they did purposely make sure that they had that there. That is a nice little feature. Kind of nice to keep that all in mind. Now, we've had this blaster before. This is the standard kind of blaster rifle carbine. I think it would be more of the short barrel carbine. Battery pack doesn't seem like it comes out. I've always thought, if somebody ever does, and not that anyone's ever going to watch my small channel videos or whatever that's going to be in Hollywood or anything, but I'm just saying, if anybody ever does like a a spoof of a science fiction movie. I think it would always be funny if you had like AA, AAA batteries or something like that. Maybe a big rifle would be C-cell or D-cell batteries. Every time they pull the trigger and you have a round come out, it would be a battery. I think that would be hilarious. And of course, then we get, I don't know if this is going to be the E-Web or if this is going to be some other heavy, maybe a repeating blaster of some sort. So it does have what looks like a spot for it to go onto a tripod of some sort. But there's no tripod in there. I mean, we've already taken everything off of there, so obviously our battle droid will have to carry it by hand, but still, this is our heavy weapon here. I'm not exactly certain what that's for. Unless, maybe that's, okay. My mind goes to, oh, it does come back. Maybe it's supposed to be back. To me, it seems like it'd be a possibility. You look down here and you link it up to something else, but I don't know. If it can go back, I think I'll just keep it back and just go from there. Just trying to think of how that would work. Some sort of sight from my thought. Now, this is from the video game, so however they did it in there, if you play the video game and you want to leave me a comment about it, you know, I'm always happy to get the comments and say, hey, this is what it's for or whatever, because, you know, quite obviously I don't know what that's for, and sometimes it's really nice to learn what some of this stuff is. Okay, so we have his his backpack on. It does not feel like it comes off of here. Sometimes with some of our other ones, we've had the backpack come off, so this one does not. I'm trying to figure out exactly where this goes in. I don't know if that really fits in there or not. You know, just trying to figure out exactly where this should go. If the backpack's here, and we have that, these do feel like they come up, and they do. 1, 2. But I just don't know where this goes. If that goes into something else here. So I'm going to leave this off and on its own for now. Because it does have like a shoulder mount. It is kind of contoured here to go onto a shoulder. So, alright, well, let's go through our joints and see what we've got. See if we have our standard foot joint here or not. I think that might be our problem. I think I have a slightly messed up joint here. You look at this foot and that sits exactly where it should. This one seems like it's a little off. I don't have our ankle to go back and forth, although we can go front and back. There we go. Maybe it'll stand a little bit better now. And then we have our knee, and of course, now they put a little cut in here, which is wonderful. So that means that it can be folded up. And then, because in the movie, he would lean forward and then kind of wrap his arms around and be all kind of bunched up here. Now the head, I don't know how much movement I've got there. I don't think I've got a ton of movement. It doesn't seem like it goes down. It does just rock a little bit, but that just seems like it's just barely on here. So hopefully I'm keeping this all in view for you. Our arm does have just a little bit of movement here, but not a lot. Not trying to force it too much. You know, I've said it before, it does go in some. I've said it before, you know, when you get a brand new figure like this, it should be kind of stiff. I agree with that. I'm not going to... but it's just trying to figure out exactly how much movement before I break it, and suddenly I'm looking at something and I'm going, you know, you get the... His waist does move here. Okay, so we can move his waist forward and backwards. Now that I got his ankle fixed, maybe he'll stand a little bit more. Now his legs, we have a little bit of side-to-side movement, not a lot. They have on Amazon a pre-order for the Commando droids to come out next year. I really want to get a couple of the Commando droids. I thought that was a nice upgrade to the Battle Droid series, especially how they play them off in the animated series for the Clone Wars. I can put my fingers down here and get him to stand, but he wants to lean forward too much. I don't know. And that's where my problem is. He's leaning forward, and then oh, he really needs a base. I'm going to have to order some bases. We got him. Yay. All right. So we got him to stand. He doesn't have the greatest articulation. I mean, we can bring up the arms. We can kind of move things around a little bit. We do have, okay, so I do want to say this. We can swing that around so you can see. The arm can go back and forth. And it does rotate here. So we do have that articulation, which is wonderful. And I'm not going to bash any of that. It's just, compared to some of the other characters that we've done where we can do like full kicks, that's not these guys. These guys are going to be a lot more basic, which does make sense. And I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to complain. I'm not bashing it or anything else. Just wanting to give a shout out to you guys so you have an understanding. If you pick this up, because these are going for normal price, and of course I like the droids. I've mentioned that a couple different times. I'm a sucker for wanting to get the droids. I just don't know where this is supposed to go. I feel like the backpack, aha, and it does. The backpack can come off. So if I take the backpack off, can I then put, I can. Then you can put that on there. And that works out. Okay, and the head does go down a little bit more. Now I'm playing with it a little bit. Oh, that is something I wasn't thinking. Okay. So I'm going to say it this way, and this is kind of how I view it. So take this for what it's worth, because we're talking about droids and we're talking about, battery life and everything else. And I've always kind of felt this way, and I don't know how true or untrue this statement's going to be, so please just bear with me. Now, with a backpack like this, I think you're going to have an extra battery, and you're going to have a small, whatever they use for a generator, so that way they can kind of recharge stuff. But it does kind of require them to shut down somewhat to do that, because we do see that with 3PO in What's a New Hope, in the original movie, where he kind of shuts down so that way he can kind of recharge himself. So that's kind of built in. But 3PO also had more area taken up. I mean, let's face it, we had Anthony Daniels in a suit, so we had a person inside of a suit here, where this is a little bit more skeletal, and these are meant to get plugged in and all that. So maybe in order to save costs, we do have a little bit of an ankle here. In order to save cost and everything else, instead of having something internal for them to recharge, it would be an external, say like a backpack, or they just plug into their power supply or whatever that they need, so that way they can charge themselves up. None of this has ever been brought up in any of the role-playing games or anything else. We just treat them as regular characters, regular beings, and that's it. Which is why I've always kind of liked the droids. I mean, we can just consider them as part of the troops or whatever else. And I do enjoy that. But it's interesting. and how things evolve over time, because I mean, when George Lucas originally came up with these ideas, and then years later we're still trying to figure out exactly the finites of how everything works. So but with that being that, we have a great assortment of weapons here. We get 3 weapons. The backpack can be on or taken off, so depending on how you want to run that, it gives a lot of opportunities for those that want to do displays or whatever else on how we want to try and work all this up. Now, we do have a notch here which does kind of make me wonder exactly if something should be able to sit in there, and I'm thinking maybe the rifle. And yes, the rifle does sit in there. So it does sit in there. So again, I like to do this so that way if you're thinking about buying it and you're on the fence, hopefully I give you an idea whether it's good or not. And we kind of go from there. So to me, it's always kind of worth it. But I'm a softie, and of course, this stuff harkens back to the childhood. Granted, I was an adult when we came up with these movies. Still, it's one of those things of dragging my dad to go watch the movies, because he'll watch them with me, and then he'll kind of grumble about some of the sci-fi stuff later. But, a bonding thing with my father when he was alive. So, with that, thanks so very much for joining me today. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video.